Brian. No, not the guy, the tripod. This is the Brian 2.0 from Three Legged Thing. It's a part of their punk series, and I have to say, I really like it. My journey to get this started on a day that I went out at night to shoot some photography and realized I'm an idiot and I don't have a good tripod. So I proceeded to start looking for one, and that's when I found the Brian 2.0. It had gotten some pretty good reviews, or at least the 1.0 version did, so I decided the 2.0 version couldn't be that far off. And I'm glad I took the chance, because it's been pretty good to me. It sets up really easily, and honestly, it sets up probably the best out of every tripod I've ever used, and I've used some pretty good Manfrotto tripods before, and a few other brands too, but I've gotta say, I think the Brian just sets up really, really well and really, really fast. Photography is what I do for work, and I have a pretty good studio tripod and some other video tripods. They are all the lever lock system, and I've gotta say, since using the Brian 2.0 consistently and trying a few other tripods out, I really like the twist lock system, and honestly I'm glad that it's here because it's pretty great. I've gotta say it's a lot better than the lever locks, and I don't know if I really want to use my lever lock tripods anymore. That's how much I really like the Brian 2.0 twist locks. But yeah, it's so much nicer to set up. I do also really appreciate the height that you can get out of this tripod. I am 6 foot 3 inches, and this tripod goes up to about 73.2 inches, I think. It's pretty good. It matches up to me pretty well, which is really hard to get in tripods, and usually you gotta spend a lot more money, or you gotta look a lot harder to find tripods for my height. I really appreciate the amount of adjustment that you can do, along with the amount of modification you can do. All of the tripod lugs unscrew and you can use them as monopods. You can even use the center column on top of the monopod legs, and you can even take off the center column and all of that. It's pretty nice, and it's pretty easy to do. There's a lot of other tripods that I think are way harder to try and get like any kind of different setup other than the normal tripod or exactly how it's sold out of the box. But the Brian 2.0 does a really good job of just kind of doing whatever you want. And if you want to try something out, you can go for it. It's all good. I think one of the cooler things that you can do with this tripod is that you can get feet for them called vans that are these kind of little extended spikes that also you can have like a screw-on plastic bit to them. And you can turn your whole tripod into a mini tabletop tripod, which I think is pretty neat and gives you a lot of flexibility. And honestly, if I keep using Brian the way that I am now, I'll probably get them, not just for that, kind of extra bit that you can do with it, but also I sometimes wish that the legs were a little bit longer. This is not a problem that I think most people run into. It's just because I'm so tall, and I would rather the center column be a little lower, giving it a bit more stability, because sometimes I do have to use the tripod center column like nearly fully extended, and I feel like even just like 4 inches would probably make quite a bit of difference for stability. After using it for about a month, I've got to say I do like the Airhead Neo ball head that comes with this tripod. It's a lot better than a lot of other ball heads. It's obviously not the best in the world, but it's not terrible by any means. I do think a few things could be better. One would be the leg hinges. They do come loose every once in a while, and you have to tighten them up, which I feel like is pretty normal. Especially for travel tripods, and especially for reverse fold tripods like this one. I would expect it to get loose decently often, but there is one annoying thing that you have to do. But I honestly keep the Allen key in the little tools thing that they give you, so it's not a big deal because you can just adjust it anywhere. Though I will say it is pretty annoying when you're going up to a shoot and then it's a little bit loose and the leg doesn't want to stay as well. It's just kind of annoying, but I mean, for everything else that you get with this tripod, it's one thing I'm willing to overlook, but at the same time I do think it could be improved. I do also think that sometimes the lightness of the tripod and the thinness of the legs can get in its own way. I mean, it's never going to like struggle too hard, because I mean the max weight I think is like 14 kilograms, which is about 31 pounds. So I mean, that's pretty good. If you're putting 31 pounds on this tripod, good on you. But I do think that once you get to like 30 pounds, you're probably getting a sturdier tripod anyway. I shoot on my Olympus OM1 Mark II. It's small and light. The lenses are also small and light, and it's pretty nice overall. It fits with my extremely light setup that I try to keep at all times, so I can just go wherever I want to and I don't get tired as much. And that's kind of my philosophy when I picked out Brian. So this tripod comes in two colors. It comes in orange, which is kind of the normal, and then there's blue, which I picked, and I've got to say I do like the look of the blue. The orange looks pretty good too, but I'm just more of a blue person. One thing I miss about my other tripods that I didn't expect I would is a leveling base. I never thought that I liked having a leveling base, but now that I don't have one, I really wish I had one. Luckily, Three Legged Thing does make one. I have not gotten it yet. It's about $160, and it's just kind of an attachment point onto the threads for like the ball head. And I may buy theirs, maybe just to keep the theming all together, but I really miss it. I really miss using it. It's great for portrait work, and also I want to do some more like panorama style stuff, some like high megapixel kind of stuff, and I really wish I had that leveling head. And I think that's really the only thing from other tripods that I wish I had on this one. Another thing that I think I would add to this setup, and this is purely on personal preference, but is a L bracket, which Three Legged Thing also makes. So this is a pretty good system for if you want to theme everything together. So, after having Brian for about a month, I only ran into one problem that I couldn't solve myself. So I contacted customer support, and they got back to me nearly immediately, given the time difference. The help that I received was pretty great. I got videos made by the person I was talking to try and give me solutions to my problem. Essentially, to get the leg hinge screws out, you have to turn both screws at the same time. However, occasionally one could get stuck, and so I was told by the customer support that all you have to do is put some downward pressure on the screw, and it should give it enough pressure to be able to unscrew it. After just hearing that, he offered to send me a video that he would make himself. I said, I think I understand, and I was able to unscrew the screws, and everything was fine after that. I can't really think of a company with customer support as good as this, especially as quick. And overall, I'm impressed. So, do I have any more thoughts about Brian? Well, I like Brian. For the price, it's pretty well worth it. I will say I do think that it lacks some stability. That's my only thing that I don't like about Brian. But I think that can be solved too with a little bit of weight balancing. So overall, would I recommend buying the Three Legged Thing Brian 2.0? I would have to say yes if you're looking for a tripod. If you're looking for something that's a little bit sturdier, a little bit bigger, a little bit beefier, Brian's not going to be for you. But if you're looking for something that you can just stick in your backpack, Brian's great. That's all for today's video. I hope to be posting more consistently in the future. But saying that, see ya a month from now.